cut or not to cut? That is the question. And we have an answer. So I'm going to go through the numbers with everybody today. I'm going to let you know what my decision is. I have came to the final decision on whether I'm going to be continuing the cut, whether I'm going to be going into the bulking phase, and why I made the decision that I've made. So we know that our goal was to get down to 10% body fat. And once we get down to 10% body fat, it was okay, we're going to turn it around and start bulking, right? That was the ideology. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the bod pod scale, right? The bod pod Hume scale. And so the Hume scale tells us that we're at 12% body fat total. And that includes visceral fat. Visceral fat is the fat that is around your organs, inside your body, non-visible fat. It's saying our fat mass is 24.6 pounds, which is low. All right. We look at our subcutaneous fat mass. It says that our subcutaneous fat mass is 21.4 pounds, which is low, right? And that our subcutaneous fat rate, which is simply our subcutaneous fat percentage, is 10.4%. And I've highlighted it here because that is the body fat percentage that we're looking to get to 10%. The 12% includes our visceral fat, right? And that sheds very slowly, and it's not fat that you can see. It's inside your body, around your organs, and while it does make a difference, it does not make a visual difference, right? So looking at subcutaneous fat, we're at 10.4%. So we got to the 10% mark, right? On that, which is what we're looking for. So I wanted to make sure this was right, and I've been doing the U.S. Navy formula body calculations, and so I plugged in all my numbers for today. Right, we weighed in at 205 pounds. I'm 6'2". My waist measures at 32 inches around at the belly button, and my neck is 16 inches. So with these calculations, the U.S. Navy estimates that we're at 9% body fat, which means we hit our 10% mark. We've hit 10.5, 11. So this is the first time we've been below 10 utilizing these metrics. It says our fat mass is around 18 pounds of fat, and our lean mass is around 187 pounds of lean mass, and we have an athletic body type, which is awesome. Exactly what we're looking for. So I wanted to make sure this was right. So as you know, there are 3 different body scans that can give you a really accurate depiction of what your body is, right? The first one is the DEXA scan. The DEXA scan is the gold standard. It's number 1, and it's going to let you know exactly what your body fat percentage is, what your muscle mass is, what your bone density is, what your visceral fat is. It gives you everything, and it gives you very exact numbers, right? So it's a great thing to look at. It's $150 and about 2 hours away from me to get that. I didn't want to drive 2 hours there, 2 hours back, 4-hour trip, and spend $150 on this yet. I will. It's something that we will do. We will get a DEXA scan in the future. But I want to bulk and cut a couple of times. Get my lean mass bigger than it is now before we do that, before we spend that kind of money. The next thing that we can do is called the bod pod. That is going to be your second most accurate. And it's this little pod that you sit in, and they close it, and it like fills with pressure, air, whatnot, and it gives a very accurate reading, almost as accurate as the DEXA scan. The DEXA scan is like an x-ray, right? It actually looks in your body. This is the second most accurate, and it measures it with uh, utilizing pressurization, so on and so forth, right? So those are in Tulsa and in Branson, Missouri again. That's where you can get those done. They don't have one around the area here that I can get done. And those run about $75, $90 to get that done. Again, I didn't want to spend that kind of money. And I figure if I use the Hume scale that I have at the house that we took a look at first, I use the U.S. Navy metrics, right? And then get the in-body scan done, which is the third most accurate scan that you can get done. And the in-body does utilize electricity through your body, looks at the resistance of that electricity, and it determines what your body fat percentage is, muscle mass is, water weight, all those sorts of things. Very similar to the Hume scale, but the difference is the way that you have to hold the handles on it. For one, you have to have your thumbs touching in a certain area, your fingers wrapped around a certain area, your arms stretched out in an exact certain way so that nothing is touching itself, so that the electrical impedance is perfect that goes through the machine. If you don't do it exactly the way it needs to be, if you don't have your hands up high enough, if you don't have everything done exactly the way it's supposed to be done, it will give you a warning and tell you, hey, you're not doing this right. You know, you need to do this. And then you have a personal trainer that walks you through this process the entire time. Or at least where I went, that's what I had. You can go to gyms and fitness facilities, so on and so forth. Doctors' offices utilize these. But basically, you have an expert making sure that you do everything perfect. And then you have your feet, and there's these metal objects on the ground that you have to put your heels on, you have to put your toes on, and those have to be in contact precisely the way it's supposed to be. First thing it does is it takes your weight, right? It said my weight was 206.9, so it was about a pound, 0.3 heavier than the Hume scale here at the house is. So the Hume scale very close, but not exact, right? And then it told us that we were 9.4% body fat, which is about 1% lower than the Hume scale, which put us at, 10.5, right? So we're very close, right? Very close in all areas here. So I actually took the average of the 9.4, the 9, and I believe I averaged 12, the 12% body fat. And when I took that average across, multiplied it by 3, I was 10.1% body fat. So utilizing the U.S. Navy, the Hume scale, and the in-body, and then taking the average of those, I believe that gives me the closest metric that I'm going to be able to get to making sure that I am around that 10% body fat that I'm looking to be at. 10.1%, that's good enough. That's good. That's perfect, right? Do I need to lose 0.1% to say I got the 10% body fat? I feel like hitting 10.1% is hitting my goal. I think I got the 10% body fat. So being I got the 10% body fat, it's time to bulk, and so that is what we're doing. So I'm super duper happy about getting the 10% body fat, about beginning the bulk and ending the cut we've been cutting now for a year and a half. For folks that don't know, we went from 303 pounds, 45% body fat, all the way down to, well, at one point, 198 pounds. But that was right before the holidays. And then we were at 10.5% body fat when we got down that low. Then when we went through the holidays and everything, we went back up. And so we cut again after the holidays and everything was over to get us back down to the 10% mark where we're at now, 10% body fat at 205 pounds. So I thought I was going to need to be at 200, 195 to get there, but I got there. One of the reasons I'm making this decision is because I noticed that I have lost a very minuscule amount of muscle mass in the last week on this cut. And I don't want to lose any more muscle mass on this cut. So it is time for the bulk. It is time to put on mass. And that is what we're going to be doing. The goal is going to be to bulk for about the next 5 to 6 months, right? About 20 weeks of bulking. Every month, I'd like to put on 1% body fat. When I hit the 16, 17% body fat mark, we're going to cut back down. And then we'll do another bulk after that, obviously. So that is where we're at. That's what we're doing. And that's what the plans are. So super excited. We hit our goal. We've done what we set out to do. And, it's just something that it's hard to explain the relief, how proud I am, how excited I am, and to see all my hard work pay off, to see, there's a point in time when I looked down, I couldn't see my toes. Now I look down, I can flex my arms, and I got a six-pack. So, it's a far reach from not being able to see my toes to, being in the, I would say the best shape of my adult life. All at this point. Well, maybe when we go through a bulk and cut back down, we're going to be in better shape, right? But definitely the top two best shape of my adult life. I was 200 pounds as a amateur boxer, 205 pounds now as a recreational bodybuilder, I guess you would say. I don't even know if you'd call it amateur. But yeah, we've done it. We're here, and I'm just so happy. I'm so proud of myself. I'm so stoked that we got it fucking done. It's amazing. It is amazing, and we have done it. And on top of that, we got to watch Sam Sulek today take home his pro card. So, that was awesome. I'm so happy for him. I know he's been working his ass off for that, and I've been following his journey for, better part of a year and a half now. Every video, following along with him. He has been an inspiration. He's amazing, and I'm just so happy for him and to see him be as successful as he's been. It's just absolutely amazing. But for us, on the other side of the coin, right? For a 47-year-old dude who decided, you know what, we're going to be a bodybuilder. We're going to push it as far as we can. We're going to document it. We're going to put it all up on YouTube. We're going to let everybody follow along. And we're going to build a community around this. That's where we're at. That's what I've done. And I just appreciate everybody that is watching the videos, that is following along, that is going to uh, celebrate my success with me, I really can't thank you enough. I really appreciate it. And if you find, these videos interesting, come on, subscribe to the channel. You know what I mean? Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on my Instagram, Threads, uh, TikTok, all that kind of great stuff. And let's build a community, because if we build a community, we can be stronger together, right? And the goal for the community I want to build, just to be clear, is I want to build a community of like-minded individuals who want to be bodybuilders. They might be folks who went from obese to bodybuilding. Maybe you're an older person like myself. You want to get into it. You're in your 40s, your 50s, right? You want to follow on. But that's the community I'm looking to build, right? If you are obese and you want to start your journey, you can do it the way I did it. I have it outlined. It's in my link tree. You can go there. It's a Google document. I'm not trying to sell you anything. Absolutely free. You can go. There's four documents. You can follow the documents, and you can transform yourself. And I put in there, basically, it's the program that I did, the way I did it, and then I just made some corrections in some places where I could have done some things better, and I made those corrections so that when you're doing it, you can absolutely have the most optimal training guide available. But it is to go from obese to bodybuilder, right? That is the goal of the program. It's not going to be a program from somebody that's, not, that needs to bulk and wants to be a bodybuilder. It's a program for somebody who's bigger and wants to cut down. Whether you're older, whether you're younger, it really doesn't matter. Anybody can utilize it. If you're obese, you want to be a bodybuilder, grab it and start utilizing it. That's why it's there. I hope that it adds some value, and I hope I can give back to the bodybuilding, to the fitness community, because it's given me so much. Without the bodybuilding community, without the fitness community, I wouldn't have been able to shed this weight. I wouldn't be in the shape I am today. I wouldn't have the support I have when I walk in to the gym and work out, right? So that is that. But it's time to bulk, and what we're going to do is the same thing I want you to do. We're going to try to get out here and we're going to try to dominate in every single thing we do, whether it's inside or outside of the gym. So do the same thing, dominate everything you do, every aspect of your life. And if you have any questions, if you want to talk about anything, throw it down there in the comments, and let's do that. And then, you know what? I'll see you tomorrow on the drive. We'll work out together, and I'll talk to you about it on the way home. All right, y'all have a wonderful night.